All right, folks, we're live. Happy Sunday morning. Still pulling my mic out of the way and knocking my lights over. That's not out of the ordinary these days. So hang on one second. I got to go back around here and pick up a light I just knocked over. So good morning. Happy Sunday morning. There we go. My desk surface has reduced in size these days from everything I'm doing. And boy, I just got my coffee too, and it doesn't look good. And you know why it took so long for coffee and why I came in here and said, hey, folks, I'm getting my coffee, stand by. It's because I brewed the pot of coffee, but I forgot to put coffee grounds in. So I had a hot steaming, when I typed here and said, hey, stand by, just going to get my coffee, I had a nice hot steaming pot of water. So I quick put in some coffee grounds, but of course I did that while the pot was on. I dumped the water back through, and then I thought, oh, am I just going to be drinking water that is? Did I just clean my pot? And I'm drinking the water I used to clean the pot with, or something. And no, but I thought, no, it's not so. There would have been coffee in it anyway. So I dumped that back through, and then the filter was wet, and I'm dumping coffee grounds in there, and it's all folding up and all that. And uh-oh, I'm going to have a mess here. Sure enough, it clogged up. So I had a mess out there, and I had to kind of do something. I had to salvage it. I dumped it all, but I got 1 cup of coffee out of it, and I got grounds floating in it. And it looks really, really dark. So I put a little cream in that. Let's see. Here we go. Good morning, Sunday morning. Here's the taste test. Tastes like coffee. All right. So let's roll. That was the pre-show. You know, like if you're watching football, you get the football pre-show. There was the Scotty pre-show. And Raini is not with me yet. She is, I think she's still sleeping. So she might not make it in today. I have no idea yet. I woke up at about 2:30 this morning and was wide awake. And I thought, I should just lay back down. And so I laid back down, and about 5 minutes later said, screw this, I'm getting up. And I got up and I did a little writing, did some stuff, and then I went over and I turned on the TV, and I fell asleep by the TV out in the living room, sitting up, surrounded by throw pillows, just, and woke up, about a half an hour ago again, and should have gotten up a little earlier to make my coffee, but I didn't. And so I started watching a movie on Clarence Thomas. It was my agent, Italia Gandolfo, my literary agent. She said, have you ever seen this movie? Or have you seen anything about this? And it's Clarence Thomas, one of our Supreme Court justices. And it's a biography of him, of his life. And it takes it all the way back to where he was born, I think he said on the outskirts of Savannah and Georgia. And grew up poor black kid in a poor black community. And he said the descendant of West African slaves, and lived in a community there of the descendants of West African slaves. And so I only watched about 15 minutes of it this morning. And so I'm going to start it over and probably watch it with Rainey. But that looks pretty good. So check it out. It's a biography on Clarence Thomas. It's on Amazon. You can rent it, I think, for $1 right now. And you can rent it for 30 days. And that's pretty good if you're a member of Amazon. So you should watch that if you're interested in that kind of thing at all. It was a very good biography. As a matter of fact, let's see. I wonder if I have it up here. Maybe I don't. No, maybe not. I don't think I have that up. But there is something I want to talk about today. Without Rainy being here, it puts me back into trying to find a good topic that I think we'll all be very interested in. And I'm going to look this up here because I actually inadvertently shut it down. I had it open on my computer. And let's see if I can find that for you. Oh, last night, by the way, I was doing some writing. When I got up at 2:30 this morning, I thought this would be a good time to sit down and do some writing and writing on my novel and trying to finish that up. And it's nice and quiet, and I'm awake and all of that stuff. And so I was looking for a place setting, a geographical location for one of the characters and where he would have grown up. And uh, so I have him fictionally as I put a fictional manor house up on the top of the hill in Wales, overlooking the the Wye River. And I in putting it up there, I had to find a good location because see, I didn't. Here's what writing a book. When I talked with somebody the other day about writing a book and some of the things that are issues when you're writing a book, it's not sometimes just sitting down writing, sometimes doing your research. And even though it's a fictional place, it's a fictional manor house, it doesn't exist. I wanted to put it in a place where it would make sense for it to be. And then get the surroundings. And so I talk about how this manor house is the bird flies. This here, I wrote this sentence. I said, from a bird's eye view, Linwood House held an impressive view of the River Wye and the yawning Bowrood Valley, just a stone's throw from the ancient hamlet of Fifenan Ginnid and its centuries-old sacred well. So that's that sentence, and I've got all the pronunciations wrong for Welsh, of course, but um, and I'm using this to kind of blow a little time as I'm looking for something here. Um, there it is. Hold on, I gotta find that. There it is. This is the article I had up that I wanted to hail to this morning, and um, I put up, if you're on my Facebook page, I put up a bunch of photos early this morning of they were just screen captures from Google Maps and going down to street level and seeing the pictures that they take of the from the satellite view. And I said I could move my family here and live here, and you can go see that the city of Bowrood, Boughrood, Bowrood, Wales, and you could see what a cool looking town that is. And so that's some of what goes into the writing of a book, even a fictional book. I have this stately manor up on a hill overlooking the River Wye and looking out over the Bowwood Valley. And you could see, just a stone's throw from this old village that was established in the 6th century because there's a sacred well there. And that all has nothing to do with the story, with moving the story forward. So I have to encapsulate that into a sentence so I can make a setting and then take up with my narrative there. And so you get a picture in your mind's eye of what things were like and should look like, at least in this novel. So, by the way, I see Audrey said, Scotty, did you catch the most recent episode of Discovery? I was well, yeah, it's a fantastic episode. So let's switch gears really fast right now. Like, well, chic, and we're moving over to this Discovery. I was actually, Audrey, gonna put up just a little post on my social media. Just says, hey, Star Trek Discovery has gotten really good. It was good last season. It's even better now. It is an emotional um, how would you state how was I going to state this? This last episode, and you're right. You said you were bawling in it. Yeah, it was a good episode, and if you have any, if you watch things and they pique your emotions and you allow them to do that, this show did that, and there was a lot of great stuff in it, and the season so far has been really incredibly well written, and these characters are now in their third season and they have become very fleshed out characters, and you actually care about the people that you're watching in a fictional television show. And so they've done a lot of good stuff with it. You said you bawled your eyes out. All the Easter eggs they drop just gets me in the feels. Yeah, an incredible amount of Easter eggs in this, and so yeah, it was good stuff. Keep in mind, the Discovery is supposed to be taking place before the time of Kirk and Spock in Star Trek. It's just before that. It's the time of Captain Pike and Spock when he was a young, I think he was an ensign, wasn't he? And so now in this third season, they've been catapulted almost 1,000 years into the future with no hopes of return. That happened at the end of the second season. And now this third season, they're in this new universe. To them, anyway, they're things of the past, and so it's a very interesting thing of how they. Yeah, she is an amazing actress, uh, Audrey, and I don't know if you all like Star Trek or not, but if you do, this is, and you haven't seen this. This outing with Discovery. They're now in their third season, and it's really well done. So I'm impressed, more impressed every episode. So good morning, everybody. By the way, I just started talking, and because I was late with my coffee and all of that. And Matt Finn, good morning. How you doing? Good to see you, brother. Field guy, of course, as always. And waiting on your coffee, you just fixed you some sausage and waffles. And we're going to make waffles. Good morning, Kevin Olson. How you doing up there in Regents Hospital this morning? I hope everything's going fine. I hope you're doing well. I always hate that, not that I've had a lot of them, but hate surgery and then the process of recovering and sitting in a hospital bed and waiting to recover so you can go home and recover some more. Hospital beds, uncomfortable. And I found even after my heart surgery, I was uncomfortable in my hospital bed and I didn't like it. So hard to get comfortable and stay comfortable. And then when there's something, you had surgery, a piece of your body's missing, an organ is messed up, and you got to lay in bed, and it's not fun. So I wish I could get up there to Regions today, Kevin. Pardon me, folks, while I adjust that light. It fell down, so it's all unadjusted now. And so I wouldn't be able to make it up. I wish I could, but trying to see the best setting here. Just leave it alone. It's fine. Nobody's complaining. So, so I've got my coffee. My coffee is full of grounds, little bits of grounds, but I didn't have time to rebrew a pot. But so I had to rinse everything out, and I brewed a pot for Rainy in case she gets up, because she drinks that swill, that decaffeinated stuff. So I had to make a pot for her. I don't know why she drinks decaffeinated coffee. So, well, she's got her reasons. Steph Cuervo Queen, nice to see you this morning. You said you wouldn't mind if one of your organs went missing if they paid me a hefty price for it. Yeah, that's right. I'd mind if I wouldn't mind if they paid me a hefty price, but if I woke up in a bathtub full of ice and I was missing an organ, I think that would kind of suck. Let's see. Oh, you're going to Disneyland today, Audrey? Well, have fun. I just watched, I don't know if I mentioned it here. I know I mentioned it to my daughters because we were talking. I just watched a a thing on the Imagineering. It's a series, I believe, on Disney Imagineering and the history of Walt Disney, Disneyland, and Walt and Disney World. And it was very good. Made me want to go right away. I've only been to Disneyland once, and I was there for about 2 hours. That's all I had. I was down there for a book convention in 1994, and I was at the Christian Booksellers Association because I had come out with the for this big Christian publisher. I had come out with that set of trading cards, that biblical trading cards on the life of Jesus, and so they had me come down and for the book convention, and I got passes to go to Disneyland. So I walked from the convention hall over to Disneyland, and it was a further walk from the front gate of Disneyland, the parking lot, to the front gate to get in than it was from the hotel to the parking lot. And so I walked over and I got on the Indiana Jones ride. I stood in line for about an hour and a half and got into that ride. I took that, but then I had to be back. So that's all I got to do. So I didn't see much of Disneyland. I've been to Disney World in Florida, but not for fun. I was there. They flew me down, put me up in one of their hotels for the night. I was interviewing for a creative director position with their big red boat, the Disney Big Red Boat. I've mentioned that before. And I didn't get the job. I had the job, it seemed, but then somebody internally wanted it, and it all switched around a couple of weeks later because I met with 13 different people that day at Disney World, and every one of them congratulated me on, hey, welcome on board. Good to have you. And I met with everybody in all these different departments and HR people and all of that. And then 10 days later or so, I hadn't heard anything. And after that initial couple of days, and they said, well, somebody internally wanted the position, and they honor their internal position people first that are already their employees. So I didn't get the job. Otherwise, I'd have been working at Disney World. May still be working there, for all I know. That one was in 1997. So there you go. Even that was a long time ago, 23 years ago. So, all I remember, I was down there in July interviewing. It was hot in Florida. I had on a suit and tie and carrying my big portfolio along with me, and walking from my hotel over to the building where I was having my first interview. And it was hot. It was hot and humid. And I'm in a suit and tie going, oh. So I even remember the suit. It's a nice suit. I used to work for a suit company, and I still had this one. It was 3 or 4 years old, this suit. And it was an Italian suit, a Corneliani. And it was kind of dark green, not green. Don't think green, like frog green or grass green, or it was that grayish olivey green, but it had black, really thin stripes in it. So it didn't even look like a striped suit. It was just green and muted, and it was double-breasted, but it was the deep V double-breasted of the early 1990s, and had cuffs on the bottoms of my pant legs, and so you could show sock, low shoes. You show some color off in your sock, and you had to have a little linen showing on the cuff, so you could show that you've got shirt. And so I was sharp. I looked sharp. Those were the days, my clothes horse days. Why, thank you, Audrey. Yeah, that was a creative director for the Big Red Boat, and Disney's big travel, and they have all these different agencies inside of Disney. And the neat thing, the headquarters was at Disney World. So if I'd have gotten that job, I'd have been working every day out at Disney World. And Disney has all their own stuff for their employees too. They've got schools on site that you can go to, the school that all the Disney kids go to. Public school, but it's Disney kids school. And they've got, the pay wasn't the best. I remember back in 1997, I think they were offering me about $50,000 a year to be a creative director, which was really low at the time. A creative director in the mid 1990s went from anywhere from 65 to $95,000 a year. Well, they were offering about 50, 55. And they said, but look at all these benefits you get. And and the benefits at Disney World, working for Disney, the benefits, they take care of you. That's all I'll say about that. There was an amazing amount of benefits. And it wasn't just life and health and some dental. It was everything. You were covered. Your home, getting into a home, getting your kids into school, buying cars, getting property. All of this, it was all through Disney, Disney, Disney. So it would have been pretty cool. I've heard that they do underpay their employees, but I think they overpay in benefits. Which, when you look at it, field guy, if somebody's going to underpay you, but you get a fantastic amount of benefits, things that you would normally have to pay for, you're probably getting paid really well. So that's my take on it. I'm sorry you don't like Disney. What is it about Disney, field guy, that bothers you? You don't want to have anything to do with Disney? And so you stopped watching Star Wars? Why? What is it about Disney you don't like? I know back in the early 90s, back when I was going to church on a regular basis. I worked with the men's ministries at church, and they were trying to the big evangelical Christian organizations like Focus on the Family and so on. They were all trying to boycott Disney, and I found when I went down there and interviewed, and I looked at their. I made mention of this once before. They had their annual report was sitting the Disney, glossy for all their shareholders. It's about almost an inch thick, soft cover, but an inch thick and bound and big, and it was full color. Their annual report, and I flipped through that and I thought, there's no way you can ever boycott Disney. Disney owns everything. It's just amazing the things that Disney owns. I look through lists of companies and parent companies that are held by Disney, and you had things as simple as the local gas station in my small town, the Clark station or the Total station, I think it was back then. Total is owned by this company, which is owned by Disney. And so, there's all that kind of stuff. You went from all of that all the way down. So it's amazing. They laid off your uncle after 25 years with no warning, told him he's not getting his 401k and retirement. So you don't watch anything Disney anymore. See, it always comes down to a personal thing. So personally, you guys are offended by Disney because of your uncle. And so nothing they do is good anymore. I get that. I understand that. You could have gotten in free over the years, but you're not stepping foot in Florida. You hate Florida too. Florida screw your family somewhere too? Or is it just because Disney's there? I'm giving you shit, field guy. That's all. Let's see. Steph said, I will never forget that they always said to remember what kind of shoes your child was wearing if they were ever abducted. They can cut their hair, put a wig on them, but they usually don't change their shoes. That's a totally different topic, but Steph, that's interesting. You had a family's friend's son worked for Disney and went to Universal. He told us about the security and how to find and locate missing children. I suppose that's a daily, if not hourly, activity at Disneyland and Disney World. Lost kids. So it's not the Saints, field guy. Hates it. There you go. That's no way. My uncle lives in Florida. No, my uncle lives in Florida. So you don't like your uncle? Now, wait a minute. Field guy, I'm trying to put this picture together. Your uncle got fired from Disney, laid off, didn't get his retirement, and so you're boycotting Disney, but you won't go into Florida because your uncle lives there. So you hate your uncle. You don't hate LSU. Okay. Just trying to piece it all together. Beth Kirkham says Disney's huge, but I'm old, so it's the Keys for me. You know, Beth, I went about a year ago. I was down in the Keys. I went to Key West. We did that filming for that Bermuda Triangle series, and they flew me out for a day to Key West. I always wanted to go to Key West. I always wanted to go to Key Largo, and I liked the old Humphrey Bogart, Lauren Bacall movie. Key Largo. And did you know playing one of the Indians in that old movie? One of I think the tribe was the Seminole or the Seneca. I can't remember which it was. They mentioned this big hurricane's coming and some of the local folk. And there was Jay Silverheels playing one of the, just a small bit part as one of the Indians in the town there and on Key Largo. And Jay Silverheels, very famous for, anybody know who Jay Silverheels was without looking it up on Google? Do you happen to know on the top of your head? I know Google's nice. It's all that because you can look up all this information you're missing. I just want to know if you know who he was. Jay Silverheels, very famous in a television series after the movie Key Largo, several years after Key Largo. He played Tonto in the original Lone Ranger television series, with Clayton Moore playing the Lone Ranger. And who is Tonto, says Audrey. There you go. Honoring Alex Trebek today with that. Who is Tonto? So the name of the Indian played in a Western TV series by Jay Silverheels. Who is Tonto? There you go. Fantastic. Hey, Morgan Snow, welcome this morning. And by the way, if all of you, you too, Beth, I didn't say hello, welcome to you. But if I didn't, welcome to the show this morning. This is the Scotty and Raini Sunday morning show. Well, she's not with us yet. So, hey, Scott Lowry. There was a child porn ring they busted in Disney World. I didn't see anything about that. Maybe you guys talked about it a little bit in the chat room. I haven't heard about that. Was that recently, or is that history of Disney World? Child porn ring at Disney World. That's interesting. I'm looking to see if you got anything more in here on that. Well, that's where Steph talked about child security. Let's see. I don't see anything more on that. Charity does not outweigh the bad that they do. So the bad that Disney does. So it was an official Disney child porn thing. So when you say charity doesn't outdo the bad they do, I think individuals do bad and individuals do good. I think Disney World probably doesn't stand for child porn. But sounds more like a rumor, says John Piper. How you doing, John Piper, this morning? Good to see you, brother. And Johnny Depp played everything once. Yeah, Johnny Depp was also Tonto in I don't know who made that movie. That Lone Ranger movie came out 10 years ago or so, where Depp played Tonto. Horrible, horrible movie. Sucked. That from an old Lone Ranger aficionado in the days. Well, at least I enjoy it. I don't know, you'd call me an aficionado. But I watched that show when I was a kid, and it was reruns, you know. It didn't originate in the 1960s. It was before that. But I watched The Lone Ranger all the time. And Clayton Moore, I almost got a chance to meet him. Who played the Lone Ranger. He lived up here in Golden Valley, a western suburb of Minneapolis. That's where he lived out his retirement days until he died. And I had one of those big brothers once when I was growing up, when I was a 10-year-old kid. And he knew Clayton Moore, and he was going to introduce me. But I was 11. I think I was 11 at the time. And because I had just gotten freshly religious after my 11th birthday. And I think I preached a little too much to my big brother at age 11. and he never. I only went out with him once. Went to his home, helped him cut some logs and do stuff, and after that, he didn't want to have any. He never saw him again, and I think I was too religious for him. So, hmm. Matt Finn says when Disney sells movies to the Chinese market, they always agree to change their ad posters to minimize black people while acting woke in the States. That's not cool. No, it's not cool. If it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do over there in Japan, in China. So, Chinese don't like black people in their posters. Well, John Piper, hey, out of the hospital. Glad to see you. I'm glad you're out of the hospital, brother. Glad you're doing okay. I hope you're doing okay. So it's always nice to see you here. And John's an old friend of mine from the Renaissance Festival days. So Chinese, I don't think have seen a black person before. Yeah. And so the Chinese government doesn't want to expand their horizons and let them know there are black people, I guess, huh? Or why is that a problem? Maybe it's a demographic over there, obviously. But that brings up something I mentioned the other day, Friday, and I think I've talked about this a little bit before, but this came up a year and a half ago or so. That whole talk about the new Little Mermaid movie made by Disney, of course, the live action one. It's not animated, and they chose a black actress to play Ariel, the Little Mermaid, if they're using the same name, even. And my daughters put that up because they do their mermaid thing, and everybody was talking about that. And that whole crowd over there that supports my daughters, that artsy fartsy crowd, seems they're predominantly very left and very progressive. And that's fine. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. But what bothers me is when you run into somebody who's very leftist progressive and they have no time for any kind of discussion that doesn't fit into their little circle of what the world is supposed to be. And I happen to err over there that I don't like the idea that they've changed the Ariel into a black girl. And I said she wouldn't be African American because she's a mermaid. I said, but I don't like the idea of that. I said, only from a creative director's standpoint. Now, when you think about it, I don't really have a problem with it at all. But my thinking was, I liked the idea of the red-haired mermaid girl, the pale skin under the sea, and all of that. And they were all like, "Well, it's about time, Disney gives a role like this to a person of color." And I said, is Disney casting movies based on creative content or based on politics? The politic of skin color. And I said, I don't care either way. I said, I don't care what color Ariel is or Ariel, however you want to say it. So it doesn't really matter. I says, what matters to me is when it becomes, we're making this decision based on political correctness. And I said, that's not being woke. I said, that's pandering to a race, pandering to a segment of society. We're going to make this movie this way because we're pandering to political correctness. And I had a problem with that. But I said, creatively, I liked the red-haired version. And then everybody starts immediately. There wasn't even any discussion in that group. It was immediately before asking what I thought about that. Well, why would you think that? Tell me what your thought process is on that. Or why do you think creatively this or that or the other thing? Immediately pounced on by several people as being a bigoted racist. I'm racist because I creatively thought that making Ariel black was not a move I would have been in favor of. So I had to go through that little discussion, and my daughters, they have to be very careful of their audience and stuff, so they don't jump into that stuff. and I can handle myself. I wear my big boy pants. And every wildest imagination, gymnastics of twisting what I said around was brought up because I was dealing with no longer a creative issue. I was dealing with a political correctness issue and politics. And of course, as we all have learned in politics, insulting somebody is fair game if you don't think the way they think. And so, it's like talking about the elections immediately. And we're going to talk about something on this a little later this morning if Rainy doesn't come down. But um, you ever noticed if you say anything about the current election and say, I think there might have been something shady going on there, you are immediately decried as an idiot, as you're the object of derision because you didn't believe that Joe Biden actually won the election. It's the same type of thinking. So I faced this with the Little Mermaid issue. I'm like, look, I don't care if Ariel is black or white or pink with purple polka dots. I said, I just thought creatively, if I'm remaking the movie, I would try to keep her as the redheaded girl, the wistful little redheaded girl. And I said, if they want to do her black and it works fine, that's fine. I said, you know what? I'm still going to bring my children to see it when it comes out. They'll still have a good time watching it, and so will I. I said, I think it'll probably be a phenomenal movie. I said, but that was a creative move I wouldn't have made, and I gave my reasons for it. And I was lambasted for it. I wasn't even given the opportunity to say, oh, well, I understand, different strokes for different folks on a creative decision like that. I was immediately, because I voiced any kind of difference of opinion on that, immediately labeled as a racist. And I said, you guys need to go get a life if you think I'm racist over that issue. It's not a racist opinion. Too many threats from NAACP, so you have to have a movie updated with all the black casts. Well, there might be that. 2, yeah. Why can't a movie studio make a movie the way they want, says Audrey. I think they can make it any way they want. And I wouldn't have boycotted it or spoken against it. I would have just said, hey, my opinion from a creative, I would have, maybe that would make me a bad creative director because I couldn't think outside the box of the little redheaded mermaid. So maybe I'm not as creative as I think. So, and she'll probably do a fantastic job, this actress. And I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. I'm not looking forward to the politics of once again having rung in my ear, what a wonderful thing for a black girl to have gotten this role. It's like, what, blacks don't get roles in Hollywood or in Disney movies? I think they do. So it's not an issue for me. It's not an issue of race. So no problem with mermaids as long as it's all catch and release. There you go, John. I like that. So why did they just change Elliot, Pete's dragon, into a kitten? What? Elliot's now a kitten? That's kind of weird. See, creatively, I suppose you could do anything you want. Okay, it would be like this, guys. What if I've always loved the movie Casablanca. And I've even got my Humphrey Bogart hat. This is not an Indiana Jones hat. This is my Penman Casablanca. That's patterned after Humphrey Bogart's hat from the movie Casablanca. And except I put a hole in it with all the traveling and all the pinching and all the junk. So that's why it just hangs on the wall. But so there, that's my Humphrey Bogart hat from Casablanca. But what if I wanted to do a remake or be in charge creatively of the remake of my favorite movie of all time, Casablanca? But I decided I wanted, instead of Rick Blaine being an American and owning a cafe in Casablanca, I wanted him to be, let's say I wanted him to be, I don't know, Chinese. So Rick Brain I'm sorry. The joke was there. I had to take it, but ching. It's like John Cleese once said from Monty Python. He said, "Oh, he says, the heart of comedy is making fun of people." He says, "Except the Mexicans. You can't make fun of the Mexicans." And um, so what if I cast a Chinese guy as Rick Blaine? Would the movie work as well? Because Rick Blaine is supposed to be this hard-boiled American who was always on the wrong side of things, helping people. What if I made him a Maui of Maui descent and Maori descent? Sorry, Polynesian. The Polynesian Rick Blaine, Rick Anawakapuki, who owns Casablanca, who owns Rick's Cafe Americain. So here's what I'm saying. Creatively, it wouldn't work for me. Casablanca. It wouldn't work for me. I probably wouldn't watch it myself unless it was a farce. So here's what I'm saying is that with casting The Little Mermaid with a black actress, I don't care. But my initial gut reaction when I was told about it was, I don't like the change. I would do other things creatively. I wouldn't change the characters. But the Box of Red-Headed Mermaid. There you go. Disney did a fantastic job on Beauty and the Beast. They did. Would you think that it would have been the same if Belle, the young French girl, had been Polynesian? Would that movie have worked as well? Would it have evoked the same memories from the animated thing, the Easter eggs, if you will, from the animated version? Because after all, Disney was making a remake down to all the characters, you had guys turning into clocks, and clocks and candle stands and candelabras, but I suppose they couldn't turn Belle, the white French girl, into Belle, the Polynesian French girl. So all of this to say, I don't care. I'm not racist. It doesn't matter to me. The only thing that mattered to me was the creative change. Why creatively are you changing that? I would ask the question, what was the purpose of making that change? Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Come over here.
No.
Yeah, you can come over here.
I'm pants on.
That's okay. I don't either. Here's my beautiful wife. Come on over. Still in her jammies.
Still in my jammies.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing.
Good morning.
Excuse me. I messed all my coffee up. My creamer is moldy and gooky.
Oh,
and
gross.
I poured it out, and then you couldn't see it. I wasn't looking. Poured it out, and then as I tipped it up, you could see this big long string of like guck.
Yuck.
And I'm like, well, maybe it'll mix in. So I mixed it in and tasted it. No.
The mold will mix in. Stay around.
No.
I see. See, my wife is naked. Listen.
Stop.
She gets so annoyed with me.
I do.
No. So everybody say good morning to Raini. I think she's going to probably go get her coffee. I brewed her coffee.
I wrecked all of it with my moldy creamer.
With her moldy creamer.
It all in a big travel mug.
Yeah.
So there's no coffee.
Gross. So you got to brew again. Look at that. This is how she looks in the morning. Just amazing.
Yeah. Tired. Wore out.
I'm tired too. I was tired this morning.
Yeah. I don't think I slept very well.
And my coffee, I screwed up my coffee too. I've got grounds in it because I don't know what I did. But I messed it. Oh, I ran it through first on accident without putting coffee in.
Nice.
So I just ran it over again. And
so slick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she'll be back.
So does this show start at 9 o'clock?
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
Hell, why we gotta get up so early on Sunday?
It's 9:50.
Why the hell?
Why the hell do we gotta get up before 10 o'clock on Sunday?
All these extra days off school for kids is like messed up my sleep schedule. And theirs, because they're all still passed out.
Oh, the kids are?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Flynn should be. He was still awake at 2:30 in the morning. I got up in the middle of the night and I saw his light still on, and I went over and I peeked in because he's having trouble not going to sleep. And so I peeked in, and he's still watching TV at 2:30 in the morning. What are you doing? I said, go to sleep, son. Turn off the TV. Go to sleep. Ah, he says.
Yeah. Get off your Nintendo.
Ah.
Go brush your teeth.
Teresa Antone, amongst others, says, good morning, Rainy.
Good morning.
And she says, Rainy's got one of those angelic faces that's always looks good in the morning, noon or night.
Thanks.
Oh, hi.
You. Hi.
Hello, Rainy.
Hello, Scotty.
I love my the studio space. It's a dressing room, too.
I didn't want
So,
to wake up the kids.
That's okay. I love my life. So,
I'm gonna do the two-shirt toothbrush because
yeah, there you go. That works. Audrey says good morning. I think a bunch of people. Morgan Snow says good morning, Rainy. Coffee first. John Piper from Festival. You remember John, don't you?
I do.
Made lots of balloon animals and stuff. Let's see. Field Guy says I was promised 2 people here, so I think he's saying naked. You say? He says no, she wasn't naked. She did have to. She was still in her pajamas though, so she had to put on the.
I was in my underpants and a tank top.
Underpants and a string tank top.
Sitting over here.
That's right. That's shining in your face. We can turn that.
It is right now, but I'm not.
So, lower that microphone because it's now in the way. Oh, there we go. Let's get all redone here.
My hair out.
You can use a fork because we were talking Little Mermaid.
Yay, Little Mermaid.
The politics of the Little Mermaid, of the change in the color of the skin of Ariel.
Well, mermaids should be gross and green because they swim in the sea and they stink like fish. So
that's right.
No matter what.
I think if Disney wanted to do a good mermaid, they should have made her green with scales and then gills. She should have had gills here.
And either no teeth or really sharp, pointy teeth.
Yeah, why do they have noses if they don't breathe underwater?
Yeah, they should have no noses, too.
Yeah, and gills.
Stupid movie makers don't know nothing.
I think that's... let's see, what does Maya say? Same here, Matt. I minored in Shakespeare, and trust me, those plays have appeared in every culture, both here and abroad, based on the culture's vision, not on Shakespeare's theater. Very true! So I'd like to see you cast a white guy as Othello, though, and do blackface to play Othello. It's political correctness you run into there. You can't do that anymore. So I think there were some famous white actors who played Othello, who's a black character. He's a Moor in Shakespeare's play. What do you do with that in China? Well, China maybe doesn't put on Shakespeare plays, but there's the problem you run into with current political correctness. So there you go. Why the shells? Yeah, exactly, John. Why the shells?
Yeah, mermaids don't have boobs.
Yeah. Why would mermaids have boobs? Well, maybe they breastfeed.
No fishes breastfeed. Give me one fish that breastfeeds.
Well, mermaid's not a fish, Rainy.
What is a mermaid then?
Half fish. And half human.
I don't care.
No such thing as a film being non-political. That's the truth, Maya. Everything's political to a certain degree. I agree. So
skin color doesn't.
She's thanking you. I'm not quite sure what she's thinking about exactly. So, yeah, if you want to get Field Guy's attention, just say boobs.
It wasn't politically correct to make her white with red hair.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It wasn't politically correct because she was white.
I don't know. The skin color thing doesn't really freaking matter as long as the person plays the part good.
Yes.
And I heard you say,
that's it.
What if Belle would have been Polynesian? As long as she spoke French, it wouldn't freaking matter.
There you go. I'm sure there were some Polynesians in France in the 1700s, early 1800s.
Just needed to be French. Otherwise, they would have had to change every freaking character because you can't talk in French accent if you're not French.
Sidney Poitier played the cello here in the Shakespeare. Played Othello here in the Shakespeare Theater.
Played a cello.
He played a cello.
I played a cello at the theater.
She said Othello, not shallow. So I was looking for Yeah, you got a couple of typos upon typos there, Teresa, but that's okay. I do the same thing. So I understand your struggle.
Here,
Beth Kirkham says it's a cartoon. Jeez.
Beth says, why do
Well,
you
the
see
original was a
why do
cartoon.
you see political correctness as a problem?
Where do you see that?
Right there. Why do you see political correctness as a problem?
Oh, I see political correctness as a problem because it's um, let's see. I've never quite answered the question
Because
that way
it's an
before.
issue that's forced and points out skin color, so it's making a problem. It's making problems come out of a problem that they're forcing.
There it is. Well, yeah.
If you're the person saying, "Well, it's political correctness, we have to do it because of the skin color," you're the person that started
Pointing out the skin color.
You're pointing out the problem.
Political correctness, I think, taking a step back, if I'm not misinterpreting you, Beth, who forces it? Well, society,
Yeah.
The court of public opinion, those with the loudest voice.
Those with the
voice
most
that.
freaking annoying voice who can't just shut the hell up and get along with life the way it's supposed to be done and has to make a problem out of everything. Jesus.
There you go.
You know what? Those people need to have some freaking kids, like 3 to 6 of them, starting at the age of 1 and 2 and 3 and 5 and 11 and 14. Is that 6 yet? Give them all the freaking age ranges to deal with, and their problems won't be with what's going on in the world. It's going to be the problems going on in their house. Stupid
There you
people.
go.
Stupid people.
And Maya, you said Patrick Stewart played Othello. Did they do him in blackface, or did he play him as a white guy? Or just play, let's all of you, the audience, pretend that I am a Moorish black, or a black Moor, and playing the part of Othello. They left it to the imagination. That's fine. I've never said I have a big problem with that.
I'm uncultured. Is a Moor supposed to be black?
The Moors, yeah.
What is a
in
Moor?
Shakespeare's time, they were more from Spain and that area, but they were black African. So, do people have a problem with pictures of a black Jesus? Michelle, I do, because I'm a historian.
Jesus should be a
Jesus
lady.
wasn't black, historically speaking. So if you want to, that's like saying,
Jesus should be a lady. He's got long hair.
There you go. How do you know he had long hair?
Because the pictures say it.
The pictures, duh.
Duh.
No, I look at a black Jesus, and we may have talked about that on here before. I only have a problem with a black Jesus because it's not historically accurate. If you're going to choose as your object of faith or worship or even veneration an historical figure, it'd be like saying, well, Gandhi was Chinese. Again, does that change who he was? No. But historically, I'm not going to insist he was Chinese when he was Indian. So the same thing with Jesus. Jesus was a Middle Eastern Jew. He was a Judean, an Israelite, if you will. And Middle Eastern Jews were tan-skinned, olive-skinned, however you want to say that. That's what the Middle Easterners, that was the color of their skin. Was he black? People say, well, what if he was a black Jew?
Jesus was a pothead.
So Jesus was a pothead.
He wore a robe.
No, you're talking about Jesus.
Spoke about peace. Yeah, that sounds about
there
right.
There you go. Wore a robe, did carpentry, and spoke about weed or peace. Yeah. So no, I don't think Jesus was black, and I would have a problem with displaying him as a black because you're not being historically accurate. Now, if you want to morph history to fit your race or your personal preference, be my guest. If you want to have a black nativity scene in your yard on Christmas time, more power to you. But you're not talking about the Jesus of biblical stories, because that guy was a Middle Eastern Jew. And so there you go. We have evidences of Grundig. We do not of Jesus. Oh, Beth, the only evidence you have of Jesus is the fact that there's historical records in the biblical text about him. He was a Jew who could name his tribe. He was an Israelite. He was born into an Israelite family on both sides. According to both sides, and I'm talking about the lineage because they follow Mary's lineage and Joseph's lineage. Mary was a descendant of King David, according to the scriptural account, as was his stepfather, because God was his dad. Joseph was of the family of David. And I think if he had been looked different than most of the people of his day, that would have been spelled out in the scripture. It didn't say, who is this black kid who is the carpenter's son? That just wasn't so. People from Nazareth, from Bethlehem, from Israel, what is now Israel, was Judea. It was known as a Roman province back then. Those people were not black. You might have had some darker skinned individuals. Maybe they did more work in the sun. They were not of African descent, though. This is Middle Eastern descent. So we do know if there was an historical Jesus, and I believe there was a historical Jesus. I don't think he was European, though. I do have an issue with the fair-haired white Jesus. I don't think of that he at all favors who Jesus would have been historical, Michelle. Michelle Dunbar asked, then do you have an issue with the fair-haired white Jesus? I do. He wasn't blonde. He wasn't redheaded. He wasn't fair-skinned. He wasn't European. He wasn't Scandinavian. So if people want to worship a Scandinavian Jesus, you go right ahead. But you'd be just as wrong as the people wanting to worship a black Jesus. He was neither. He was Middle Eastern. Now, is that an issue for faith? No. Who cares? Is it an issue for me? No, unless somebody insists that I accept the possibility he might have been black. No, I will resist you on a historical basis. It's the same thing with anything historically. Trying to force me to believe historically, again, that Gandhi was Polynesian. It ain't going to happen because he wasn't. He was Indian. So Abraham's second wife was a black woman named Terah, I believe, and it was mentioned in the Old Testament. Oh, there you go. There's mention of her skin color. If Jesus was black, they didn't mention that he was black. They mentioned that he was a Jew who could name her tribe. Could Terah name her Jewish tribe? No, she wasn't Jewish. She was from outside the Jewish tradition. So they made mention of that. Jesus was a rabbi. He would not have been accepted as a rabbi in his day had he been from outside Jewish lineage, Middle Eastern lineage. He could not have held the position of rabbi. He would not have been looked to as a rabbi. So a black Jesus, anybody can argue the point all they want. It just didn't exist. That's not a racist issue. That's a historical issue. If the only thing that gets me into a debate about that is when people want to insist that it's possible he was black for the sake of political correctness. And if it's for the sake of political correctness, you're wrong-headed about it.
Not wrong-headed, you're just dumb.
Just dumb, Rainey says. Yeah, no, there was no black Jesus because Jesus was not from Africa. Jesus was a Middle Eastern Jew and of Judean heritage. So that makes him not black. So, see, are we going to get it? We can get into the minutia of arguing who are they. What do you want to know, Beth? What's your actual question?
Are we doing religious talk? Can I go lay on the couch?
No, we can do it. This isn't religious. This is historical. Michelle, we need to identify with the Christ within. Worshipping a picture is idolatry. Yeah, that's true. Worshipping a picture is idolatry. That's why I don't worship a blonde-haired Scandinavian, Norwegian-looking, Jesus Olaf Christ. I don't accept that because, why? Because he was Judean. He was Middle Eastern. Same reason I wouldn't accept a black Jesus. He was Judean, not black. Now, is that a matter of faith issue? No. It's a matter of looking at the history of who the character was, who the person was. It's not a matter of faith. I can accept the Messiah if I want to. And remember, he was supposed to be the Jewish Messiah. And there were certain criteria for the Jewish Messiah. He had to be a Jew. He had to be able to name his tribe. And
But the Jews didn't accept him, right? So
the Jews rejected him, but they rejected him because they wanted a military king to oust Rome, or oust the rule and set up his kingdom on earth. And Jesus said, I haven't come to do that. I've come the kingdom in your hearts. And that's why they rejected him, not because he was black or Scandinavian. So
kind of like Trump haters.
Yeah, kind of like Trump haters.
Sorry.
Sorry, she had to say it. You're the only one saying they as a source. I just want to know what source. That's because we're not doing a critical study here this morning. I could get into a critical study, and so which is where have I been using they? That you am I talking? We're talking about who? People that accept Jesus was black, or people that accept Jesus was white, or people that which is the they? I say it offhandedly because I'm not doing a critical study here. We're just talking about it. But specify, Beth. What am I missing? Well, in the land of poppies and weed. I don't know if that was in the same context. Internet provider has been acting up. Oh, the last 2 days, Maya. Sorry about that. Teresa says, spot on, Scotty. Yes, Sundays are supposed to be fun days. Sunday is a fun day. This is a fun day. I have fun talking about this
boring.
stuff.
I know you do.
So there's all kinds of criteria for lining up what race Jesus was. Does it matter on a faith level? No. You can believe or pretend he's any color you want. But if you're looking at the historical person, the historical side has an historical context. That's all. So it doesn't matter for faith. He could be purple with blue polka dots. Doesn't matter if he's God. What color is God? Not. We're not talking about it. We're talking about the physical incarnation of Jesus. What was he? He was Middle Eastern. So let's see. Jesus and drag. I can't handle that. No, I can't either. Race is a myth. What kind of myth? What are you talking about? Race exists. If race is a myth, then there's no racism, right? So racism is a myth as well. Race is a myth. We're all humans. We're all of one race, the human race. So that's like disliking somebody because of the color of their skin or thinking you're superior to them is when you think you're superior to somebody who has a Bostonian accent over a Midwestern accent. It's dialect. Color of skin, we're still all human race. So racism is man-made. It certainly is. Now that blocked you out? That's interesting, Beth. On YouTube, you said racism is man-made, and it blocked your statement until either I or a moderator okayed it. That's interesting. Why do you suppose, there's a good topic of discussion, why do you suppose they blocked a statement that says racism is man-made? That's interesting. So if there's a throne to stand before in the afterlife, there's going to be a lot of people going, whoops, my bad, when it comes to opinions based on race, gender, and social status. Just saying, I agree with you, Maya. If there's the great white throne judgment at the end of time, and everybody's got to stand before God or the godly form of Jesus, the Messiah. If you got to stand before that, they're not going to ask you what color you are, and nobody's going to look at God and go, "Oh, you're that color." All we know about the great white throne judgment and the post-resurrection Jesus in the heavenlies, in the end times, according to the book of Revelation. It said he had white hair, and it wasn't because he was old. It's this white. It's talking about white garments and white hair and glowing skin.
Maybe doesn't say what color it is. We're all made out of freaking light, and in the end, y'all go up as
we're all energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy says Beth is correct. Where is Beth? Have no idea. An algorithm. What's Beth correct about? I'm not sure what you're hailing back to there, Tracy. Let's see. Steph says, I based my judgment on people's character. I called them out on their shit. Boom. Same here. I don't care if you're white, black, anything in between. Indian, Native American, Chinese. Who the hell cares? Now, the only reason I would care about it is historical culture. I like being Welsh and Scottish. And apparently I've got a lot more Scandinavian in there than I thought, according to our DNA.
Yeah. Dang DNA.
Teresa says racism is man-made. Teresa, just did that to you too. It just blocked your statement. Racism is man-made until I okayed it and released it. Well, it's not blocked because I released it. So Beth is correct about racism. I agree, Steve. Racism is man-made. I agree. Totally. 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
So you don't see me disagreeing with Beth about racism. It's man-made. Racism is something that's passed on. It's taught. It's not something that's inherent. So Obama was wrong. So, because Obama said it's in our DNA. I disagree with him. Let's see. Steph said, right, there's shitbags in every race and creed. Absolutely, I agree with you. Beth says it's an algorithm. What's the algorithm? Beth, how do you mean? That humans use an algorithm to create racism? Yeah, I can see that. I don't know exactly what algorithm you're talking about, but the algorithm that flags comments. Oh, I see. Woo! It's sensitive to all the kinds of stuff now. Yeah, you're right, Matt. See, and who put that in place? Why can you not type a statement, racism is man-made, without an algorithm catching it and blocking it? That's interesting. So go ahead, somebody. I won't clear it. Somebody go ahead and type. Teresa, go ahead and type again that racism is man-made. I won't okay it. None of the moderators okay it. And let's see if it goes up. Maybe it will because I already okayed it with you, but we'll see. Let's see. What does Matt said? Because free speech doesn't fit the needs of the globalist. Boom. Exactly. You can't have free speech. Free speech must be there. Steph just typed, and it came up on my window because I'm a moderator. I own the channel. Steph, I see that you just typed racism is man-made, and it says, should I show it or leave it hidden? So it's sitting right here in front of my eyes. You're not seeing it. It's blocked. Here, now, I will release the statement right now. Show.
Take a picture of it.
Oh, here, yeah, Rainy, take a picture of it. Boom, there it is. I don't know if you can see that, how you'll be able to see that, but here, now I'll show your comments, Steph. But oh, there you go. See, right in there. It's hard to read, but those two little blocks, show or hide, and there's your statement. Now I've released it, so it's now being seen. I can see it and release it. Yep, I did too. So, so why is that being done? That's the same people who bring you wokeness. Are you woke? Are you woke enough to accept a black Little Mermaid as an actress? I don't care. I don't care what color she is until you make a point of making it a point.
Oh, yeah, that's irritating.
That's what's irritating. Rainey's hit on it.
That's teaching racism. That drives me freaking insane.
It is. It's teaching racism because it's teaching we must elevate to your eyes the fact that we have been magnanimous enough to place a black actress in the role of the little white-skinned, red-haired mermaid remake.
We've been watching a ton of Christmas shows, and I don't even know what the name of the show was. And guess what? It was a whole entire black family, and I didn't tell my kids, hey, guess what? We're watching this.
We're watching a black show? What was that called? And I was
like On the Run or...
No, the one of the guy with the toy shop?
Oh,
is that the one you're talking about?
No. What was
I thought it was dumb. It was
dumb.
It started dumb, but it got better, and I sat through it and I enjoyed it.
The beginning was hard, yeah. It was something
Jangle's shop or something. It was about set in Victorian era, very fanciful sets and things like that, but black guy who was a toy maker.
Yeah.
And they showed him as a young man, a different actor, but the older actor was the one black actor with the lazy eye. What's his name? He was in a Star Wars movie. He's been in all kinds of things. He played.
Are we supposed to remember any actors' names? Because I don't.
He played in.
I know Leonardo DiCaprio. That's about it.
Why do you know Leonardo DiCaprio?
Because he was cute.
Let's see. Racism is man-made. There you go, Teresa. It's not showing. I have to release that statement. I can see it right now. Can you? I'll release it in a second. Matt may have. Oh no, there's somebody else released the other one. Here, I'll release yours. There you go. Now they're released. So another moderator just handled it. It says. I think there's a little bit of a delay in YouTube. So I'm talking, and it's about 30 seconds later that you all hear it. So virtue signaling. Look how good and correct I am. Exactly, Tracy. That's what it is. It's virtue signaling. Look what we did. We at Disney have placed a black girl in the role of Ariel. Look how evolved we are. Look how woke we are. I don't give a flying rat's ass how woke you are. Just make a good creative decision. Make it a fun movie for people to watch.
Yeah.
If you start saying, we're making this wonderful family movie, and look at us, we're casting a black girl in the role, you've just changed the entire the entire finish of the movie to me. It's no longer about making a creative movie.
It's not about making a good movie at all. It's not even about making a good movie. It's about doing something so that you fit in to make everybody else believe you're a good person. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb. That's Raini's word of the day. Dumb.
Dumb. She says it to me all the time. This is dumb.
Dumb.
I didn't delete or block any comments because they were not meant as hate. Yeah. If I think somebody's being hateful too, Matt, by the way, sometimes I let their posts go through so they can tie their own noose.
So they can look dumb.
So they can look dumb. That's on my Facebook. People go, why don't you delete those people?
No.
Just let them say what they're going to say. I'm not going to prevent them from talking. It's not my job.
No.
My job will be, the only time I delete somebody is if they're abusing other people. Verbally abusing other people.
Or unless you piss off the wife and the wife says delete it.
Yeah, or unless my wife's pissed off. You won't have any sex if you don't delete that person. Yeah. Oh, they're gone already, honey. Yeah. I'm way ahead of you. So, Beth, I agree with you. It is a valuable discussion. We got to talk about these things. It's not that I do not have a heart for those we have viewed as being oppressed, or those, the lesser, quote unquote, in society, things like that. It's not that my heart isn't there. It's when the political message is being used to sell the pie to you. That's when I have a problem with it. It's like, get your politics get your grubby little dirty political fingers out of the pie. Yeah. And let the pie be what it is.
Yeah.
And so there you go. And I'll state it once more just for emphasis, is that, like the Little Mermaid movie, got no problem with a black actress playing Ariel. Where I have a problem is when it's done for the sake of political correctness.
What if they took Mulan and made her freaking French instead of whatever Mulan is?
Look at this.
How much I even care. What?
Iowa X just said, and folks, you can't see this yet. The moderators don't approve it yet because I'm talking about it. The black and the white Little Mermaids both voted Biden by mail, Iowa X said. Now, you know what's interesting about that? YouTube blocked that post, and it's got to be either approved or we hide it. So your post has been blocked, Iowa X. I'm going to show it. Boom. There you go. YouTube censors.
Yeah, YouTube. Dumb censors.
Dumb.
Yeah, dumb.
So there you go. I just released the statement. There's a little bit of a delay, so you're probably seeing it released before I'm even talking about it. That comment was held.
That's so
and that's kind of stupid. But like you say, it is the algorithms will pick that up. There's not somebody sitting back there going, "Oh, I see the word Biden." and something talking about the election.
Teresa, we have a white Christmas tree this year too.
Yeah, ours is white. Christmas trees originally were green.
Yeah, they were.
Let's see, can I write Biden cheated?
We
Yeah, you
almost
can.
bought a pink one, except the new dad wouldn't like it. And the girls
I didn't want the
really
pink tree.
wanted pink.
I'm sorry. And it has nothing to do
So we went with white instead.
with pink being gay.
And it was going to be the white. They wanted the snowman one with the snowman hat and face on it with the little arms and the 3 black dotted coal ornaments down the side. But I didn't want to spend the $80. So we bought the cheap $39 white Christmas tree.
I wanted to just go cut down a tree. So.
Yeah, but we always take too long to do that. And the girls wanted to like do the tree now.
Yeah, do the tree now.
And there was no Christmas tree places open yet.
Maybe, John. Why do you think you've been blocked on Facebook? That's interesting. I get posts of mine. I put up a post yesterday explaining why I believe that there was something untoward that happened during the election. That the process was. And I was going to talk about that this morning before Raini came in. So you're lucky when Raini got here. But now everybody who shared that post, every one of them says, and I guess mine says too to other people, it's got the Facebook warning, the facts about the election. It's like, look, can we just as adults present our point of view? I wasn't saying anybody was dumb, anything like that. I was stating these are the points why it's being challenged. This is why the election is being challenged. Having an intellectual conversation about it. But Facebook's got to get their fat asses in there and tell you, this post is probably not all true or probably partially false.
You just said fat ass. How rude.
Oh, how rude.
And degrading.
Oh, I'm degrading
anybody who might
people
have
with
health
a big
issues.
butt.
Jeez, Scotty, can't believe you even went there.
And it was so natural for me. It just came out naturally.
That's why you use the word dumb.
I have a predilection for talking about the size of people's butts, and I'm insensitive to it because I'm programmed that way because I am butt privileged.
Yeah, you are butt privileged with your flat ass.
So there you go. That's how stupid it is.
Dumb.
So like I said at the beginning, for those of you who missed it, my agent put me onto this. She said, have you seen this? And it's a biography about Clarence Thomas, one of the Supreme Court justices. And so I went ahead. What's being blocked now? I heart fat asses, Scott Allen says. That was blocked.
You like big butts
and you cannot lie, said Steph. And that was blocked. Now Raini has shown that to everybody. So you like big butts and you cannot lie. You know, that's funny. That's blocked on YouTube. You like big butts and you cannot lie. Didn't Donkey sing that to Shrek?
Mm-hmm.
I guess YouTube would block him now.
Yep.
See what I mean about political correctness? The reason I don't like political correctness is it's like this. Which way's the wind blowing today? And that's how we will take our stand on what people can say or not say. And so it's censorship. And people go, well, it's not the same as constitutional censorship. Well, it is. You have the right to say what you want to say. Corporations that you work for or whatever, they can tell you can't say certain things at work. They have a right to do that. We have rights within limitation.
I love that they can start firing people now, though, for what they say on their Facebooks.
Yeah.
And their Twitters.
You can be fired if you say something that the company doesn't like on your Facebook and Twitter. So that's a good thing. I've probably been fired a long time ago if I was working for a company. A stupid company.
A dumb company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so you all know, I'm quitting working in my dumb company.
Steph, laughing my ass off, Mr. Minksy, but it's not boobs. That, Steph, was blocked.
That was blocked.
So I'm going to show it now. Boom. Now it's showing. So I don't go for PC language. I don't either, Morgan. Beth says, I think that's the loophole. And I'm leaving FB, says Karen Steele. Probably a good move. I've been thinking about it. I go on FB. Do you know why I do FB? I have friends on there, yeah, but I promote
And
my
half of
shit
them are
on FB.
dumb.
And those of you who aren't watching, half of you are dumb.
Steph, your comment, what the actual fuck, is blocked. Here you
What
go.
the actual fuck got blocked, Steph? There, now it's on.
Crude language.
Yeah.
Disappointed,
How
Steph.
dare you?
Disappointed. Jeez.
And held again, Steph. Steph held again. A nickname. I like the way you say dumb company. Thanks, Barry. Corporate stuff. Yeah, Beth. This is where I think when you get into social media and everybody's talking and you hold a position on something, my position isn't anti-racist. Use a double negative there. I don't have a racist bone in my body, but I have a common sense bone. And my common sense bone, right?
You have no bones in your body. What?
I have a common sense bone. And that common sense bone says we can all be against racism, but that doesn't mean we have to go with the flow of what people think. Oh, you're going to offend somebody, so you can't say that. I can't even talk like that. I can't even use that voice without offending somebody.
I don't like to be offended, but I will say what offends me.
What offends you?
Are the comments of, well, you're just an old white guy and you're privileged. That is freaking offensive. Yeah. And if anybody ever said that, if anybody was in my presence and said that, chances are they'd get punched in the mouth for being a freaking racist son of a bitch. That shit pisses me off.
Yeah, I have people that tell me I'm a racist, and they say you're just an old white guy from Wisconsin.
Yeah, you're privileged. You were born privileged.
I'm born privileged. I don't think so.
Obviously, you are stupid and dumb.
Yeah,
and don't know jack squat.
If somebody calls me white privileged, then I have a right to call them plain stupid. Yeah. So.
And they're racist.
We're not white privileged
that is like
people.
the most racist thing to say.
Yeah, Morgan. Social media has gotten all screwed up.
Yeah.
Especially Facebook, where you're no longer allowed to state your opinion without getting, especially during the election. During the election, you couldn't state an opinion if it went against the company policy.
Yeah, if you weren't for Biden,
Now, I haven't been in Facebook jail all that much. I've only been a couple of times, but way back. I'm surprised I don't get put in Facebook jail more. But I'm common sensed and I'm even keeled. I let people say what they want to say, and if I oppose what they say, I try to be common sensed about it. I don't just go out saying, you dumb asshole, and try to take it from that point of view. That doesn't work. That doesn't get anybody anywhere. I'd rather discuss the issue. Facebook needs to get out of the way and let people have conversations. Let's see what just got blocked. Steph got blocked. Aha! Suck it, YouTube. That got blocked, Steph. I'm going to release that. Teresa said, they are big dicks. That got blocked, Teresa. We're going to clear that one. Steve Clark said, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, and they all stink.
Yeah.
And Steve, my mom told me that growing up, but your statement just got blocked by YouTube. I'm going to clear it. Boom. So what did Matt say? Not blocked, Iowa, but works, Steph. What did Iowa say that should have been blocked? I've been driving people nuts talking about doctors who will be facing crimes against humanity charges in a few years. Block, no blocked test. Yeah, no, it didn't catch that one. Not enough in the algorithms about that one. Let's see, Teresa, it's fun. I just love fucking with YouTube. That got blocked, Teresa. How dare you use such naughty language? Mm-hmm. I think the word fuck automatically gets your comment blocked. Yeah,
somebody
the
type
blocking
in something about COVID and vaccines.
Yeah, somebody type, don't use the word fuck or shit or damn or whatever. Just talk about, you heard that COVID's fake.
Put COVID vaccines are a hoax.
Should just see if that comes through. So suck it, blocks it. Yep, that's what did it, Steph. Sorry. I think it thinks you're talking about blowjobs. So.
Your dairy tolerance.
You're making me earn my keep
That
today,
is white
says
privilege.
Matt. What? You're dairy tolerant. Yeah, there it is. That's white privilege. COVID hoax. Nope. Iowa, that went through. COVID is a total hoax. That went through. It probably has to be a certain way it's being
Yeah,
said.
this says Paul. That means he took his message
Oh,
away,
message
right?
retracted. Paul from Newcastle. That means he took it away.
Yeah.
COVID is totally fake. It says, well, it's a misspelling of COVID, so they probably didn't catch it, but apparently they're letting those go through. So here you go. FUCK is a legal term. Nice. Beth Kirkham, that got blocked.
Yeah.
And I've got to release it. So F period, U period, C period, K period is a legal term. And that just got blocked. Here, I'll release it now. Boom. Released. So vaccine for COVID-19 is bad. Yeah. It's apparently not catching COVID stuff right now, Morgan.
Give it time. Once we get a little closer.
That was just a little experiment to see what they block and will not block.
Yep, that didn't get blocked either. Cocktail.
So Karen, that didn't get blocked. Cocktail position vaccinations.
No. Okay. So, well, maybe YouTube believes that vaccines are a hoax, and we'll let that go through.
Maybe they do. Somebody, or that isn't in the algorithm right now. Where you noticed it the most was pre-election on Facebook. If you showed support for Trump by questioning something in the Bible, you always got a thing would come up and say, and that's because this is one of the reasons those types of algorithms are part of the reason that they said that really backs the idea of there being a fraudulent play in the election, is that everybody in the media, everybody in Silicon Valley, they were all pushing an agenda. And when they're pushing that agenda, you notice now you don't get as much blockage, you get a little bit of it. But the election's not over. It's not done. It hasn't been decided. And people will say, well, come on, give it up. He should concede. Biden won fair and square. That's usually the people who voted for Biden are saying that. The people who are against that are the people who say, no, look, there are all these irregularities.
Vagina got blocked.
Vagina got blocked, Steph. Somebody released it. Probably Matt. Matt likes vagina. Matt likes vagina. Held and released, Steve. So Steve got blocked too.
Are you sure Matt likes vagina? You could just be pushing your vagina agenda on him.
I have a vagina agenda. I don't want a vagina. I want a vagina. There's a difference.
Testicles did not block it.
Imagine that. Imagine you finding a genie in a lamp and wishing you could have all the vagina you wanted and wake up with one. Let's see what got boobies. That got blocked, Barry.
Anal beads.
Anal beads got blocked, Steph. Cock blowing, wish someone would block them. You got blocked. Cock blocking. You got blocked, Iowa. Morgan Snow hated pussy hats. That got blocked. So Matt, I'll let you go ahead and be busy. You can clear those. I'll just talk about them. And COVID vaccines are a hoax. That didn't get blocked.
But I agree.
I'm looking at Xmas lists. Do you know X is actually a legitimate abbreviation of the name Christ, or the word Christ? In Greek, in Koine Greek, X was a legitimate abbreviation for Christ. So when you see people say Xmas, they go, oh, you can't say that. You've left the Christ out of Christmas. No, I'm just spelling it in Koine Greek, dumbass. Dumb. So
dumb.
This is making my morning, said Scott Allen.
Bondage. Yeah, let's see what we got. COVID certificate and vaccination ID blocked. Was not blocked.
Not blocked. Tracy.
Joe Biden takes payoffs. That didn't get blocked.
That didn't get blocked.
I'm sending you batteries. Nice.
Steph. Nice. So, do y'all want to hear that cool list?
What are we listing?
Where'd it go?
Huh?
Oh. Reasons why the 2020 presidential. Here, I'm going to separate that out so I can separate it out and still see the chat room. You want to hear this,
No,
folks?
not really.
It smacks of politics, but it's...
Is this what you read me last night?
Yeah, part of
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna go to sleep while you read it.
Oh,
My
please.
eyes are struggling to stay
Come on.
open.
Get with the program.
My coffee was slimy. My brain function
Mine
is low.
too.
Yours was at least
Well, how can your
not
brain
slimy.
function be low when you drink decaffeinated coffee anyway?
There's still caffeine in it, just not a lot.
Yeah, there's not enough to even wake up
if
a blood cell.
If you had heart palpitations all the freaking time, you would cut your caffeine too, mister.
Well, I had open heart surgery and a heart attack, and I still drink coffee with caffeine.
Don't feel the heart palpitations. So,
that's true, I don't.
And it messes
coffee
with you.
stat.
Get coffee.
Okay, to say out loud that you find the results. Okay, folks, what do you think of this? To say out loud.
I'm gonna go find myself caffeine.
Okay. If you want to brew me another pot of coffee, that'd be awfully nice.
I'll try not to spit in it this time.
Don't spit in it this time. Let me ask you, all of you, and some of you, we debate things on social media and so on, but to say out loud that you find the results of the 2020 presidential election odd is to invite derision. People will call you an idiot. People will think you're dumb-headed. Trump is a tool for the cabals. There you go, Teresa. And that didn't get blocked. So if you, the results are statistically and mathematically impossible. You're right, Matt. But if you question the result of the election, if you say there is possibly some foul play that took place here, you are the object of derision nowadays. You have to be a crank or you're a conspiracy theorist. You can put me in the crank category. The Trump campaign is still well within its rights to contest the tabulations. And something very strange happened in America's democracy in the early hours of Wednesday, November 4th, and the days that followed. And it's reasonable for a hell of a lot of Americans to want to find out exactly what happened. It wasn't just, oh, well, Trump lost this election. There's a lot of anomalies there that people are questioning. Teresa Danson's test, Trump is a booby lover. Let it go through. But it didn't let Steph say booby. That's interesting. Very interesting. So I have no opinion. I wait for evidence. Trump losing is not evidence. He can contest all he wants. I agree with you, Beth. I agree, absolutely. Trump losing is not evidence. What it is evidence here, I got a thing here. There's a bunch of things I want to tell you. This is why I think the election had some problems. You got to consider some facts. First of all, President Trump received more votes in history than any previous incumbent seeking re-election. He got 11 million more votes than in 2016. Now, the third largest rise in support for an incumbent president ever. And by way of comparison, Obama was comfortably reelected in 2012 with a 3.5 million fewer votes than he received in 2008. More people voted against Obama, but he received 3.5 million fewer votes. Trump received 11 million more votes than he did the first time around. And also, I thought this was a neat statistic because you always hear everybody's always talking about, oh, this is a first that Joe Biden got the most votes of any president ever running for office. And the first that we have a woman who calls herself black, but who's really kind of Polynesian and stuff, I think, the vice president. First woman president. So many beautiful, wonderful firsts here. And they say, well, what about the first that Donald Trump lost the election on its surface? He lost the election having gained more votes than anybody ever before. He had, when Obama was reelected in 2012, that's only 8 years ago. 8 years ago, Obama was reelected with 64 million votes. Trump was not reelected with 78 to 80 million votes. So for Biden to have won by the margin they say he did, is that just that more people voted? And why is it? And we'll get into this. We'll get into a little bit of this because I want to go through this. It's some interesting stuff. The algorithms were removing vote totals from Trump and adding votes for Biden. That's exactly what happened. But here, let me go through this. And I want you to don't be partisan in this. It's hard not to be because we all have our choices. Maybe you didn't want to vote for Biden, but you hated Trump, so you didn't care who got in. That's okay. We all have our position on this. But I want you to consider some facts. Why are they even contesting this election? So, first of all, some things to consider as background. It's the number of votes. Trump's vote increased so much because, according to exit polls, he performed far better with many key demographic groups. 95% of Republicans voted for him, and he did extraordinarily well with rural, male, working class whites. He also earned the highest share of all minority votes for a Republican since 1960. Trump grew his support among black voters by 50% over his 2016 numbers. Nationally, Joe Biden's black support fell well below 90%, the level below which no Democrat has ever been elected president. So Trump increased his share of the national Hispanic vote to 35%. With 60% or less of the national Hispanic vote, it's arithmetically impossible for a Democratic presidential candidate to win Florida, Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico. Bellwether states swung further in Trump's direction than in 2016. Florida, Ohio, and Iowa each defied America's media polls with huge wins for Trump. Now, since 1852, only Richard Nixon lost the Electoral College after winning that trio of states, Florida, Ohio, and Iowa. And that 1960 defeat to John F. Kennedy is still the subject of great suspicion. How many? 60 years later. IOX says the fun thing will be watching Republicans get beat in Georgia the same way. Then they will play dumb. We'll see. Might be. So Midwestern states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, always swing in the same direction as Ohio and Iowa, their regional peers. Ohio likewise swings with Florida. Current tallies show that outside of a few cities, the Rust Belt swung in Trump's direction. Yet Biden leads in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, because of an apparent avalanche of black votes in Detroit, Philadelphia, Milwaukee. So Biden's winning margin was derived almost entirely from such voters in these cities, as coincidentally his black vote spiked only in exactly the locations necessary to secure victory. That's the only place his black vote spiked. And he didn't receive comparable levels of support among comparable demographic groups in comparable states, which is highly unusual for a presidential victor. Let's go on. We're told that Biden won more votes nationally than any presidential candidate in history. But he won a record low of 17% of counties. He only won 524 counties, as opposed to the 873 counties Obama won in 2008. Yet Biden somehow outdid Obama in total votes. So victorious presidential candidates, especially challengers, usually have down-ballot coattails. Biden had none. The Republicans held the Senate. At least we think they will. We'll see what happens in Georgia with the two runoff elections. And they at least during the main election, during election night, they held the Senate. They enjoyed a red wave in the House where they gained a large number of seats while winning all 27 toss-up contests. Trump's party did not lose a single state legislature and actually made gains at the same level. The down votes didn't work the way they do in this election. Another anomaly is found in the comparison between the polls and non-polling metrics. Talk about your algorithms and your metrics. Here you go. The later include party registrations, trends, the candidates' respective primary votes, candidate enthusiasm, social media followings, broadcast and digital media ratings, online searches, the number of especially small donors, and the number of individuals betting on each candidate. So, despite poor recent performances, media and academic polls have an impressive 80% record predicting the winner during the modern era. But when the polls air, non-polling metrics do not air. The latter have a 100% record. Non-polling data has, or the non-polling metrics have a 100% record. Every non-polling metric forecasts Trump's reelection. And in the past, every time, 100% those were correct. 100% record. For Trump to lose this election, the mainstream polls needed to be correct, which they weren't. Furthermore, for Trump to lose, not only did one or more of those metrics have to be wrong for the first time ever, but every single one of them had to be wrong. And at the very same time, not an impossible outcome, but extremely unlikely. So atypical voting patterns, married with misses by polling and non-polling metrics, should give observers pause for thought. Adding to this mystery in this election is a cascade of information about the bizarre manner in which so many ballots were accumulated and counted. And I've got 9 things. I'm going to go just a list of 9 things I'm going to go through, and we'll be done with this. And we can talk about it all we want. Here, let me look over at some of your comments along the way. So it's almost impossible to figure out. Exactly. Matt says, held back and released Iowa. Oh, Iowa must have made a statement there that I missed. Fake ballots have been discovered in Wisconsin, Matt Finn says. They've been discovered everywhere. And it's not just like 12 of them. It's like 12,000s of them. Thank you, my little girl, for the new fresh cup of coffee. Come here. Come here. Crawl up on this chair. Say hi to everybody. There's Ellery. Hi. You know that people know you for that now. So, here, let's go on. Let's finish this. I want you to listen close to this. If you don't know why, or if you think this challenge of the election is dumb, this is why it isn't. Number 1, late on election night, with Trump comfortably ahead, many swing states stopped counting ballots. Now, I will tell you, in my own experience, never have I not seen the outcome of a modern election before midnight. Sometimes before 11 p.m. You know who's winning. So late on election night, Trump was comfortably ahead. Many swing states stopped counting their ballots at 3 in the morning. And in most cases, observers were removed from the counting facilities, and counting generally continued without the observers being present. Why did that happen? Why did the counting stop at 3 in the morning in several states? It's never happened before. Why did they remove the observers? Okay, there's number 1. Number 2, statistically abnormal vote counts were the new normal. Statistically abnormal vote counts were the new normal when the counting resumed. They were unusually large in size, hundreds of thousands, and had an unusually high 90% and above Biden to Trump ratio. So after this, the votes stopped in these states, and they started again a couple of hours later, all of a sudden there were an abnormally large amount of votes with an abnormally large percentage point going to Biden. Number 3, late arriving ballots were counted. In Pennsylvania, 23,000 absentee ballots have impossible postal return dates, and another 86,000 have such extraordinary return dates that they raise serious questions. Now, people say, well, every vote should count. We're a democracy. One man, one vote, one person, one vote. Votes, all votes should count. No, wrong. Not all votes should count. Do you know why? All votes should count, but not all ballots should count. Why? Because I will say it again here, folks. We are not a capital D, I guess it would be that way. We are not a capital D democracy. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutionally limited representative republic. Our elections take place with representatives. This is what the Electoral College. Why do you think that there's a whole movement that wants to get rid of the Electoral College? So they want to change the form of government we have. They want to change us from a constitutionally limited republic to a democracy. You have a democracy, that's where a lot of your problems start. This is a representative republic. It's not every single vote determines the election. Every single elector, all peoples are represented in our representative government. Sometimes you win elections, sometimes you lose them. But it's a representative form of government, not a one person, one vote form of government. All right. So in Pennsylvania, 23,000 absentee ballots have postmark returns you can't read. 86,000 have such extraordinarily poor return dates on them that it raises questions. So you've got over 100,000 ballots that were mail-in. You don't even know what the postmark says. So can they be accepted? Should they be accepted? Well, yes, because we believe every vote should be accepted. Well, they should be accepted if they're for Biden, is what people are saying. So the failure to match signatures on mail-in ballots is another problem. That's problem number 4. The destruction of mail-in ballot envelopes, mail-in ballot envelopes, which must contain the signatures. But they destroyed the envelope, so there's no signatures. They only have the vote. That's abnormal. That's worthy. If I was running for office and the procedure is that mail-in ballots have to have signatures, and they've destroyed all those, but they still counted the tally, I'd have a big problem with the outcome of that election. That's just one issue. Number 5, historically low absentee ballot rejection rates, despite the massive expansion of mail voting. So you got mail-in voting being totally expanded just for this election. Why? Because there's historically low absentee ballot rejection rates, but they're despite the massive expansion of mail-in voting. So the mail-in voting, but the rejection rates went down. So such is Biden's narrow margin that, as political analyst Robert Barnes observes, if the states simply imposed the same absentee ballot rejection rate as recent cycles, Trump handily wins the election. But they changed all of that. 6, the missing votes. In Delaware County, Pennsylvania, 50,000 votes were held on 47 USB cards, and they're all missing. They haven't been tallied. Who are they for? Number 7, non-resident voters. Matt Brainerd's Voter Integrity Project estimates that 20,312 people who no longer met residency requirements cast ballots in Georgia. There's that Georgia thing, Scott Lowry. 20,312 people no longer met the residency requirements to cast their vote there. And Biden's margin was only 12,670 votes. What do you do with that? When 20,000 people didn't even meet residency requirements anymore. So number 8, serious chain of custody breakdowns, invalid residential addresses, record numbers of dead people voting, record numbers, ballots in pristine condition without creases. That is, you know what that says? This is a little CSI for mail-in voting. Ballots in pristine condition without creases. That is, they'd not been mailed in envelopes as required by law. So the ballots, the mail-in ballots showed up. They weren't folded up and put in envelopes and run through a mailing machine. Where did those mail-in votes come from? They weren't mailed. They weren't folded and put into envelopes as required by law. Yet we still counted them, and over 90% of them were for Biden. So number 9, the last one, statistical anomalies. In Georgia, Biden overtook Trump with 89% of the votes counted. 89%. For the next 53 batches of votes counted, Biden led Trump by the same exact 50.05 to 49.95% margin in every single one of those 53 batches. And it's particularly perplexing that all statistical anomalies and tabulation abnormalities were all in Biden's favor. So whether the cause was simple human error or nefarious activity or a combination, clearly something peculiar happened that's never happened before. So if you think all this stuff, only weirdos have legitimate concerns about these findings and claims, maybe the weirdness lies in the people that are questioning whether or not you believe there are the people who question it. That weirdness lies in them, not in the votes. And so there are all these anomalies. These are the things that I keep seeing people say, well, it's been proven over and over again that there was no fraud. Trump just needs to concede. No, it hasn't been proven there's no fraud. It's been pressed into your minds from the left, from the complicit media that supports the left. It's been pressed into our minds that there was no fraud committed. And they've said, well, they have all these court cases and they're not proving that there's fraud. Well, they haven't had full court cases. One of the big complaints by Trump's attorneys is that judges are throwing this out, dismissing these cases without them ever being able to provide their evidence. And the judge is saying there's not enough evidence of fraud. But they're not able to present their evidence. But what that does, it's setting it up so they can just move it to a higher court. So there you go. So there are all the anomalies that took place in this election. And this, by the way, this was, I want to tell you who compiled all those reasons. This was done by Patrick Bashan. He's the director of the Democracy Institute. And he is also a pollster himself. I think that's what he calls a pollster, or a, how do you say it? He said, yeah, he's a pollster, and he finds that this election to be deeply puzzling because it breaks all the established rules of how this has worked before. And things that were supposed to work didn't work this time. Everything is out of line. Is there something to the whole claim of this Dominion software stuff that we use in the United States to covertly change elections in other countries? Was that used here? There's a big question there. We may never know the answers to this. Biden may end up the sitting president because we'll never be able to prove some of the things that happen. But we can see the anomalies. And that may lead us to, all these anomalies may lead to a disputed election. Nobody actually gets more than 270 electoral votes. There's like, in essence, a tie. You know what happens in that case? It goes to the Supreme Court. It goes to the Senate. It goes to, and if there is still a disputed election, the person in power doesn't lose the seat because of the way they have to appoint then the electoral voters. Each state will get one in that case. And if that happens, right now it's stacked up that there's like 23 that are Democrat and the rest are Republican. I think 27 are Republican. So it'll be an interesting month or so to see what's going to happen. We might not know the president before the president's supposedly supposed to step down and the new one's supposed to take his oath of office. But we may not know by then. And you know what's exciting about that? Even if Trump loses, you know what's exciting about all of this? You're watching history take place. I have a good friend of mine who insists that this is all because Trump is a narcissist and he can't handle losing and so. No, this is all about that there are legitimate. It's not just Trump driving this train. It's or piloting this boat. It's a hell of a lot of people out there that are in powerful positions that are looking at this and going, there are all these anomalies that occur. This isn't one man's narcissism or one man can't standing losing and having a temper tantrum on the carpet in the Oval Office, which I've heard people say. It's not because you don't like Trump that these anomalies exist. That's irrelevant what you think or feel about Trump as a president. I don't necessarily always like Trump, but I agree with the policies. I agree with his actions. Remember, Trump was never, we said this 4 years ago. So Trump is not being elected to be the feels good president, to get your feelies and make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Trump got elected because he's the get shit done president, because that's what he did with his career. Got shit done. And I don't care.
And he didn't apologize.
Anything.
Oh my God.
Wow. Never apologized.
That drove me nuts with the last president, man. Apologized for freaking everything.
I remember in the early years of Obama, we called it the Apologize for America tour that he took around the world.
That drove me insane.
Yeah. America is America. What makes America America is the fact that America is exceptional. You can dispute with me on that all you want. We are an exceptional country. What makes us exceptional is what keeps the world going. So we're not just America could pass away next week and the world will go on just fine. The world will fall apart if America falls apart. Now, we'll recover eventually, but it's like, Michael Crichton said in Jurassic Park, the world could go through, you could have 10,000 nuclear bombs go off all at once and turn the Earth into a steaming hot, what's the word I'm looking at? Radioactive ball of mass for 1,000 years, and still life will eventually re-evolve on this planet. So that'll happen. Same thing with politics and the political world, geopolitics, if you will. America disappears, we're going to be burning hot in nuclear winter in the world for a long time, because the world will fall to pieces, but it will realign. It'll be something completely different, probably not in our lifetimes. So you're right, Susie Q, and welcome, by the way. Good to see you. America has to hold the line. And Michael Musgrave, take down the cop. Or the CCP. I'm sorry. My no glasses said cop. Take down the CCP. So there you go. I mean, there are reasons why this whole process is exciting to watch. This is history being made, whether you agree with it or not. This is history in America. We are seeing a sitting president who maybe believes he should have won. Maybe a lot of his followers believe he should have won. Maybe the 80 million people who voted for him believed he should have won. But you're seeing a challenge taking place to the national elections. That is not an embarrassment for America around the world. That's a piece of history. I don't see this as embarrassing at all. I have more friends of mine on the left that say, this is so embarrassing to watch our president do. It's history, and it's also constitutionally provided for. How can it be embarrassing for a sitting president or any candidate to challenge the election if they believe there were anomalies?
And when did your friends turn into such pussies? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends who are pussies. It's like, you know what? And people say, I'll bet you wouldn't be saying that if it was the other way around. What if Biden was challenging it? So he has a right to challenge it. I may disagree with him. I may go, I don't want him to challenge it because my guy might lose. I think that's all the opposition you hear to Trump challenging this right now. That just proves to me there's a hell of a lot of worried people on the left that think he might just win. So I don't care. Let it play out. And you know what? I will state this again. If Trump actually loses this election, and if Biden is actually, Biden is not even the president-elect yet. He's the media declared favorite to win the election. That's all he is right now. There is no such thing as the office of the president-elect. That doesn't exist. It won't exist when he becomes, or if he becomes the president-elect. There is no such thing. But this is what they are playing up on the left because they want to convince people he has won. They want to overlook, they want to degrade, as they have done for 4 years, the sitting president, delegitimize his original election, and delegitimize possibly his reelection. It's all an act to delegitimize. Now, the bottom line may be Biden will still become the next president. That's very possible and more than likely, because proving all of this stuff is very hard to do. So if it doesn't happen and Trump is removed from office and he's voted out and Biden's voted in, you know what?
Trump 2024.
Trump 2024. There you go. As I have said to many people, I suppose people are saying to me, you're going to be one of those holdup. No, you know what? If Biden legitimately wins the presidency, I may not have voted for him. I may not like his political ideology. I may not like the direction he's taking the country, but he's still my president. You know why? Because I'm a goddamn United States citizen. That's why.
Because you're not a whiny little bitch like the other
Not a whiny little bitch.
Jesus.
He's my president because I'm a citizen.
Not everybody who voted for Biden is a whiny little bitch, but
no,
at least 1/3 of them are.
At least. That's not a scientific algorithm there that we've used to come up with that.
That's freaking science. That's Rainy science right there.
Trump doesn't have a loss, as we Americans have lost if Biden goes in. The Senate is all we have to gang in here. I get your flow there, Michael. Yeah, the Senate. We have to retain the Senate. And you know what they're doing with trying to prove that Biden is winning? Is trying to convince everybody that runoff vote in Georgia has to go for Biden's people, the left. And I would think that the left would be saying, if Biden gets in, well, they are saying that if Biden becomes the president and the Senate goes, then the left not only has the presidency, it also has the House majority. It will then have the Senate majority. And what you have is a government that is one-sided and lopsided. And they'll get things done. Yeah, sure, they'll get things done. But it's whether or not you believe in what they're doing, what they're going to be doing. There, you just got blocked, Iowa X. What did you say? Republicans are going to lose the Senate. Cucks will get whipped. Maybe. If the Republicans lose the Senate, there you go. There goes the government. Because you look at the extreme, now, that's not necessarily so. What you will have is a majority in the Senate and in the House. But that does not mean that there will not be battles that will be fought, and you'll have some Democrats abandoning the agenda of the left. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen. But all in all, the bottom line, interesting times to live in, guys. This is history in the making. We've been through worse than this before. The Dems are hanging by a thread. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I won't stand for socialism either. I just want to make sure, Susie Q, that we all understand what is socialist and what is not. And I got people that will say to me, well, you drive on roads that were built for everybody. That's socialism. Well, no, it's really not. Go look up what the definition of a socialism is, and you'll see why we don't need it here. Socialism will be the end of America. So the same machines are used in other countries' elections, so who they want in offices get in. That's very true. Same software. That's why I believe in a show up and cast your vote kind of system. You start voting by computer or by mail, that opens up all the doors for fraud. That's why there are big questions hanging over us right now. It's not that there aren't some states that vote by mail and have done so. It's that you open the doors for a lot more fraudulent behavior. So this is what's at the base of things. So there's my politics for the week. And we may hit this again on the radio show tomorrow night. But most of you here are those of you that are here on during the radio show as well. So Biden will be the last one to know. Yeah, I don't think Biden's behind any of it. Iowa, frankly, and I don't mean this to sound as snarky as it does, I don't think Biden knows a lot of what's going on. Frankly, he's got an idea. He understands he thinks he's the president already, but I don't think he is as with it as the left would like him to be, because I don't think it matters. And Trump made the presidency matter. Scotty, all of us machines are computers here. All of machines are computers here. Right, Steve. That's the thing. So, all right. Anyway, so if you all disagree with me, I hope you didn't leave because you disagree. This
Your
is just
politics are horrid.
My
I can't
politics
believe
are horrid.
You think that way. What the hell is wrong with
That's
you?
right. So I just want to present why there is a challenge going on because of the perception of what has gone wrong. So Scott Lowry said way back, they, in quotes, want us not agree with the results so they can say, see racists. And we need to stick them all in one nice place to teach them how racist they are, and that'll fix them. Scott Lowry, you're onto something there. This is where the political correctness comes into play with all of this stuff. Was that the dog? Must have been. Yep, here's the dog.
What are you doing, Stanky?
Down on my feet. So there you go. So we can leave that there. We can have more discussion. If you guys got more to say about this, go ahead and say, much love all, says Susie Q. Are you in and out, Susie Q? So, yeah, I think Biden's a puppet a lot more than Trump was a puppet. You can't say Trump was a puppet. There's the thing. And I think that turned the apple cart on its head. And the establishment doesn't like that. Now, this one got blocked, Iowa. White people calling white people racist. Good fun.
That's my favorite. That really is my favorite.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I just would love to punch.
And, everybody's saying that Trump caused division. Do you know where that whole racist thing really didn't get started there? Racism started a long time ago, obviously. But do you know where that really got its start? In the Obama administration. It came to be that if anyone resisted, anybody in the Senate, anybody in the House resisted Obama, anybody in politics, they were labeled immediately as not liking the black guy in office. And it was a thing of being a racist. It was Alinskyism. Saul Alinsky and his rules for radicals. One of the rules for radicals was you point out even a fake flaw in your enemy and you keep chiseling away at it, and you make them have to defend the charge rather than continue on talking about what they were talking about. And so when people were getting called racist, they had to stop what they were doing and explain why they weren't a racist. Me, if I'd have been running for office, I'd have said, that's just bullshit. Moving on my point. I'm not a racist. Bullshit. Go home. Shut up. Politicians don't do that. I'd love it if politicians, Trump did that to a certain extent. The things we don't like about Trump, that people don't like about his character, his personality, are the things that should actually be done in politics. Looking at somebody going, shut up. So, yeah, your county is a shithole county. So I don't care what your opinion says, dumbass. I'd like to see more people. And I brought up this example before. Way back in the 90s when Jesse Ventura was running for president. The governor of the state of Minnesota. They showed a film clip of him up in Eveleth, Minnesota, up in the north. It's kind of the Iron Range, the Rust Belt of Minnesota, if you will. And he said he was walking down the street and a crowd of people around him, and somebody yelled out and heckled him from the crowd, and he looked and he goes, yeah, well, I don't need your vote, dumbass. And of course the news bleeped out dumbass. And I thought, yes, I will vote for him just because he said that. He's a politician running for office, and he called somebody in the crowd heckling him a dumbass. You go, Jesse. At that point, I didn't care what his politics were. Now, I don't even remember if I voted for Jesse or if I voted for, I think Arnie Carlson was running at the time, who was a rhino, Republican in name only, Republican in name only. So I got to interview Arnie Carlson once, former governor of Minnesota. He was in Intrepid magazine. I had a big interview with him. Talked to him on the phone, interviewed him. It was a lot of fun. So didn't get to record it, though. I wasn't doing radio at the very time that I did that, so it never made the radio. But that was a great interview. And I didn't record it. Or did I record it? I probably recorded it and lost it over the years. That was 10 years ago. So that Jesse Ventura, I like Jesse Ventura. I do too. Corey, welcome, Corey. Good to see you, brother. I voted for Jesse. He was a great governor. Yeah, I don't remember if I voted for Jesse. I remember saying I'm going to vote for him because I like the way he acts. He was a real person. Now, you know what? He was an entertainer. Still is an entertainer. Should entertainers never be president? They say of Donald Trump, some of his critics I know. Oh, former reality show guy. I'm sorry, Trump wasn't just a reality show guy. He had a reality show. You know why? Because for 30 years he'd had successful business. He was a successful businessman and was well known in America. That's why he got a reality show.
Yeah.
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 I'm going to turn this camera back this way since my wife has exited for a few minutes.
Yeah, kids need their mommy.
Oh, kids need mom. Are you done? Gone for good? Why don't you come back for a couple of minutes and we'll wrap it up. Because we've already gone for 2 hours and 15 minutes today. How about that?
Ellie won't let me pass.
Ellie, let mom come back for a few minutes and close out the show. Then we'll both be done. There you go. How's that for scintillating live broadcasting? Let me make my announcement now. That Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. West Coast, the Intrepid radio program right here on this YouTube channel and also over at Odyssey Radio, ODYSY1.com. And there's going to be some changes coming up here pretty soon, folks, with the way this channel operates and how we do live streams. It'll be live radio and the live stream. And we're going to have the memberships coming up here pretty soon on this channel. You'll still always be able to get the radio, the basic show, Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Central. You'll be able to get the show for no cost. But there will be memberships of $1.99, $4.99, and I think it's $9.99. Those three stand. You get special, you get extra things for joining up at those levels. And that's just per month for those. I've got some of you now that are listeners that send me $50 a month and have been for 6 months or more.
Because you're amazing.
Because you're amazing.
And you love Scotty. And
you
too.
love me and my wife. Shut up. And we have some people that send us, I've got a handful of people of you that send us little donations every month, and I appreciate that. It doesn't pay our mortgage or anything like that, but it sure is appreciated.
It keeps his wife from nagging him.
Keeps my wife from nagging me.
What
are you doing radio shows if it's not producing any money?
Yeah. It's not making income. What the hell?
So there is a revenue stream, and I appreciate that.
Me too.
I can't quit my day job yet, but maybe eventually we will.
Yeah.
But these memberships, there's a reason behind the memberships. You know, you strip away all the dross. The reason YouTube offers these memberships and be able to set those up so you can make money putting up your videos. I want to do that. I want to be able to produce a revenue stream off of these daily shows. Like I say right now, you go to this channel right now, you go look below and look at all the videos. I've got, since we started on Odyssey Radio, the Intrepid radio program has over 340 videos in archive. That's 340 shows in archive. That's 340 plus hours of entertainment.
Nah.
And then there's all my other stuff. What do you mean, nah?
Yeah.
So And then there's also down below, you'll see all kinds of things. My trips to Egypt, my travels. You'll see family stuff in there. Oh, a highlight. If you want, you can go watch in my family section the video of my wife pumping up a bike tire.
Yeah, woo! Yeah, that's entertaining.
Woohoo!
Right there.
I
right
like that
there.
one. That one's got like 600 views or something like that. I don't get in the millions of views yet. I haven't done anything viral here. I just do my show every day.
You're an old white guy. Nobody wants to see
And
you.
so, by the way, if you want to pass this around and help me expand my base, that helps too. It'd be nice to do this as a full-time job. But wouldn't we all like to do the things we enjoy the most as our full-time job and quit a job? I'm an artist. That's what I do for a living. I enjoy that job too. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass, but sometimes it's fun. So there you go. All of that to say that. So what'd you say, Steve? Windy and cold. I thought you were talking about me. Very windy and cold.
It's really windy here today too.
It is here, yeah.
And yes,
Our
Scotty is very
flags are
windy.
sideways out on the front. So let's see. Corey says, woke up on the wrong side of the couch. I like Scotty. He's stimulating. There you go, Corey. Thank you, brother.
You can marry him then.
Shut up.
If you like him that much, you should marry him.
You should marry him. I like my wife. She's okay.
What? Only okay.
Oh, watch it. Watch it. That's why I have one nipple that's bigger than the other. It's the one she reaches and pinches all the time. Favor of love, light, and peace and health to all my brothers and sisters, says Susie Q. Steph says, I love having coffee with you guys. Thank God. I'm glad you're here. So there's all the skinny on things. Rainey, what do you got to say to people before we call it quits for the day?
I don't have much today.
What are you doing crawling on Mom?
She misses her mommy.
Yeah, she wants Mom to get off radio. So, nipple, was that blocked? It wasn't blocked. There's that one. That one's blocked. Oh, hot judo chop.
Ow,
to the neck.
Actually hurt.
I hardly touched you.
Yeah,
like one of the kids.
You must have smacked one of my nodules or something.
Smacked a nodule.
Yeah.
Smack a nodule. Oh.
Not that one.
So, all right. Well, Steve's got to go feed horses. We got to go feed children. So, Steve, we're a lot of way. Like, we got to water them and feed them and hose them down. And so, folks, I want to thank you all for being here.
Bubbles.
Matt Finn says, I love Sunday shows, but my wife sometimes is annoyed with me listening. Well, tell her to get her butt over here and listen with you, Matt. That's your challenge for the week. And Mrs. Finn, thanks for letting Matt hang out with us. All right, guys, we're going to go.
Hi, Ellery.
Oh, Barry Chad says, hi, Ellery. So,
oh, Mommy taught her bad things.
Yeah, have an earpiece in that. So, okay, that's enough.
Cover your cock.
I hope you all have a great
disease.
Sunday. Hey, child, stop
still.
now. Learn when to stop. I hope you all have a great Sunday, great rest of your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Central. 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. West Coast for Intrepid Radio. So thanks for being here. My daughter's going out on an expression.
Yeah, thanks for joining
us. And this is only the one member. There's two more of them out there.
Flynn's
somewhere.
still sleeping.
Flynn's still sleeping because he was awake at 3 o'clock, still watching TV.
On a Christmas present.
And Rowan's working on a Christmas present. All right, you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for putting up with me.
Yeah.
She's easy to put up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.
Bubbles.
Yeah, whatever.
I have a headache.